Hare Krishna. So here, Krishna is described elaborately on the topic, the three modes of material nature. He spoke about Sattva-guna, mode of goodness, Rajoguna, mode of passion, and Tamoguna, mode of ignorance. And now Krishna is going to speak about a very, very important topic in the last section of this chapter. The topic is all about how to transcend the three modes of material nature. So let's start with the first shloka of this section, shloka number 19. Nanyam gunebhyah kartaram yada drashtanupashyati gunebhyascha param vetti madbhavam sodigacchati. So Krishna is saying here, yada drashta anupashyati, when one properly sees what na anyam gunebhyah kartaram, that in all the activities there is no other performer. Then who is doing the things? It's three modes of material nature. Gunebhyascha param vetti madbhavam so adigacchati. Gunebhyascha param vetti. He knows the Supreme Lord. And how is the Supreme Lord? He is gunebhyah param. He is transcendental to the three modes of material nature. And madbhavam so adigacchati. Such a person attains my spiritual nature, Krishna is saying. So there are two parts in this particular shloka. In the first part, Lord is talking about understand the three modes of material nature. And the second part is understand me, that is Lord Krishna, who is beyond the three modes of material nature. And such a person can actually cross the three modes of material nature very, very successfully. Now here in the purport it is said that one can transcend all the activities of the modes of material nature simply by understanding them. How? By properly learning from proper souls. It's a very, very important point. There are a few more lines which says, the real spiritual master is Krishna, and he is imparting his spiritual knowledge to Arjuna. Similarly, it is from those who are fully in Krishna consciousness that one has to learn this science of activities in terms of modes of nature, otherwise one's life will be misdirected. So it's a very important point to note that a person who is fully Krishna conscious, a person who is a representative of Krishna, a person who is bona fide and authentic, connected to a parampara, only from them we can hear. And the knowledge which they give will be the realized knowledge, and that will help us to understand the three modes of material nature. Or else very difficult. If we hear any Tom, Dick and Harry, what happens? We'll be misdirected. Somehow we have got this rare human form and we have started marching towards Krishna to attain the ultimate goal of life, but we start hearing a person who is not realized, a person who is still stuck in the three modes of material nature. Unfortunately, we will deviate, will be misdirected. Now here it is said that by instruction of bona fide spiritual master, a living entity can know first his spiritual position, his material body, his senses, how he is entrapped and how he is under the spell of material modes of nature. See what happens when the spiritual master gives instructions. Spiritual master gives instructions and he empowers the disciple. And when the disciple executes the instructions, when the spiritual master is pleased, spiritual master reveals the knowledge within the heart. Divyagan hriday prakashito. Everything that is transcendental is revealed. And along with that, when transcendental knowledge is understood very properly, realized very properly, then whatever is there on the gross platform, like this body and senses and other things, those are very easy to understand. So the first thing that the person realizes is his spiritual position by the mercy of the spiritual master, and rest of the things are at understanding his material body, senses, and how he is entrapped and he is under the spell or bound by the three modes of material nature. Now, he is helpless being in the grip of these modes, but when he can see his real position, then he can attain to the transcendental platform, having the scope for spiritual life. So, a person who progresses on the path of Krishna consciousness, this is what happens. He'll be able to see his real swarupa, his real position as Jevera Swarup Hoy Krishnera Nityadas, a servant of Lord Krishna. And when he's able to see that, his actions will be in accordance to what he is seeing, and by that he will be able to overcome the three modes of material nature. Or else it's very difficult. To overcome three modes of material nature in this material world is almost like next to impossible. Actually, the living entity is not performer of different activities. He is forced to act because he is situated in a particular type of body conducted by some particular mode of material nature. Now, this is another point to note. So, it depends on which body we are in. So, if the soul is there in the body of a dog, it cannot speak like a human being, but it will keep barking. And the activities will also be according to the body of the dog. So, it's a very nice thing to note that whatever body we get, our activities will be limited to that body. We cannot do something which is beyond this body. But in this human form of life, the human body that we have got, it's the most precious body, because by this human form, we can actually transcend the three modes of material nature, understand Krishna and go back home, back to Godhead. So, this rare human form must be utilized for progressing, advancing on the path of bhakti, and anything else done apart from this will be a waste of time. So here it is said that unless one has the help of spiritual authority, he cannot understand in what position he is actually situated. With the association of a bona fide spiritual master, he can see his real position, and by such an understanding he can become fixed in full Krishna consciousness. So when the disciple or when a devotee is under the direct care, the direct guidance of the spiritual master reveals to him where you are stuck, what is your current position, and then by the help of spiritual master, he will be able to transcend the three modes of material nature. Without external help, without a person who has transcended the three modes of material nature, we cannot transcend the three modes of material nature, because we are tightly bound. So just imagine a person's hands and legs are tied very tightly. Now he cannot unbound himself, he cannot untie. So a person who is free, he can come and untie. So the person who is free is the spiritual master, who is a realized soul, who is beyond three modes of material nature, who is already liberated. When he comes and when he unties, then even the disciple or that devotee will also become liberated. So this is a point that to be noted. We alone cannot overcome three modes of material nature. In fact, Krishna himself is telling in 7th chapter, Daivi hesha gunamai mama maya duratyaya. Krishna is saying, what do you think these three modes of material nature are? They are my energy, O Arjuna. And duratyaya, they are very difficult to overcome. So if we have a question, then what can be done? Can you please tell me what is the solution? So Krishna says, Mam evaye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Surrender onto my lotus feet, surrender onto me, and I promise that I will make sure that you cross the three modes of material nature. So Krishna is going to do the rest. But the first step we have to take, that is, we have to surrender. And when we surrender to Krishna, Krishna will actually help us cross this material nature. And finally here it is said that for one who is able to see things as they are, the influence of material nature gradually ceases. Because what do you mean by seeing things as they are? The person gets clarity in his vision, because he is cleansed of contamination now. And when he is able to see things as they are, then the illusion of this world, the illusory potency cannot work much on that person. So that's how it will go on ceasing with time. So in this way, we see that a person who is stuck in the three modes of material nature can be freed only by one's spiritual master. I mean, that person who is liberated, that person who is beyond three modes of material nature. Because the spiritual master will give both the knowledge. First, he'll tell about the three modes of material nature and how to transcend. And spiritual master will also explain about Krishna, who is beyond three modes of material nature. And by his help, a person can cross or overcome the influence of three modes of material nature and go up and fix himself at Vasudev state or Shuddha Sattva or pure goodness state, and in that state he can break the cycle of birth and death. So in this way, here Krishna has made it very clear very clear of how to transcend the three modes of material nature. Now, having spoken this, now Krishna is going to speak about the results that a person can look forward to if he transcends the three modes of material nature. Let's see this in the next video. Hare Krishna.